Today, I'm excited because this workshop and this training is very important whenever you are wondering or trying to start a business, So today, the fancy word of the training is personal entrepreneurial characteristics, but you know, I was wondering maybe if we can change the name to, okay, so you want to be an entrepreneur. And I think that's a better question, a better understanding on why are we doing what we want to do, building a business. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I've been working with entrepreneurs for 16 plus years, around 20 years. I started my first company when I was 21. And like I say, and I share to everyone, I made all the mistakes that anyone can do. And maybe someone can be related to that. And if you're not related to that, it's good for you to learn the mistakes from another one. So that's something good. So you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I'm just wondering, and the next question is, okay, why? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? So we're not reinventing the wheel here. This is something about personal entrepreneurial characteristics. Is something that it's been here for many years. This is something that has been taught in many places. And what we want to also share with you is, where does it all come from? This is a methodology developed by the German Agency for International Cooperation. It was introduced for numerous development projects. Is one of the most successful methods to learn business development. So that's why we're not reinventing the wheel here. The thing is, how can we take these competencies, these characteristics of an entrepreneur, and have it ourselves, doing it ourselves. And that's something we want to share here. We want to learn also here in the training. So let's get started. Let's start it. First of all, I know that many research, and this, the German International Cooperation Agency made a lot of research about successful people. What are that fine line, the common thread between successful people and why they succeed? And this is very important because the characteristics that are present in everyone, in every person, in a lesser or a greater extent. So we know that we have a lot of characteristics, enough of strength and weaknesses that we need to understand ourselves. First of all, we need to do an introspect analysis on, why do I want to become an entrepreneur? Why do I want to build a business? And like I always said, building a business, don't get me wrong, that's the easy part. But having the characteristics of resilience, of taking risk, that's something you need to develop. And if you have it, to improve what you already have. So each person has, in his own personality, in his own structure, strengths and weaknesses, which together they make up, like the authors call, the personal entrepreneurial characteristics. When it comes to efficiency and effectiveness, I think that the performance of a task, it is necessary that people directly or indirectly, they get involved in it. They analyze not only the function they perform, but also the skills and the attitudes that are related to the performance. The adequate development of certain personal characteristics, like I said, it's going to contribute on the successful performance of the person and its surroundings. It's not only for building a business or starting a new business model, but also, how can I be successful in many ways, in many areas of our life? So these skills, like I said, and I repeat myself, it's the personal entrepreneurial characteristics, because there are 10 personal entrepreneurial characteristics that we need to know a little bit more. So, like I said, let's get started on the first one. The first one, any person that wants to build or to create a business model or to start a startup, they need to have initiative and they need to seek opportunities. And this is something very important because I know that we have heard this before, we have shared this before, we have even read it before. However, sometimes we need really to understand it, really to interiorize it and to have it put it into our DNA, you know. This having initiative and seeking opportunities is something like doing the inspiration. To have initiative means to give the final push and to take action to appropriate the expected benefit. This aspiration is combined with a situation of risk, of living one has or losing a part of it. The opportunity is not necessarily directly, exclusively to one person and may not even be a real opportunity, but a dream. And we need to see that opportunities are also mixed with ideas, with dreams of what we want. But we really need to know that in order to get a startup or to build a business, we need to see if that idea, that opportunity that we seek, that we see that it's out there, is really gonna have the results we want. And one of the results we want is, well, first of all, to sell, to get clients. That's something like Amy told us before. We're gonna share it in our 8-week programs in the pre-accelerator. That's something you can start from an idea and then you get an MVP and you can also validate your business model. But at first you need to seek opportunity. You need to seek, you need to see where is that opportunity. As we said in entrepreneurship, we need to find what is the pain points, you know, and the pain points, when we see the pain points, we can find a solution for those pain points. And that's seeking opportunities. But seeking opportunity and seeing out there, okay, this is an opportunity where I can build a business, or I can create a business, or I can generate income from this opportunity. That's one thing. But the other one is to have initiative. And to have initiative, it's because opportunities, we can see it anywhere. We can see it in every day of our lives, but to have initiative is, in 2 words, is taking action. You need to take action. You see the opportunity, but like I said, maybe we already heard it before. We have seen it before, we have read it before, but we need to really understand that having an opportunity, seeking an opportunity, or seeing an opportunity, then you have to take action. You have to take action in order to be and have that entrepreneurial characteristic in our DNA. The second one of the characteristics that any entrepreneur or any success people needs to have before building a business or a company, it's being persistent. I think this is something very important for many of us. I've experienced it myself. I've seen opportunities, I seek opportunities, I take action into it, but something is very important. Persistence is always also, we can call it resilience. If we don't have the results we want or we seek, we need to be also resilient, to keep moving forward, to continue until we get things done. We don't have to stay away or go out without, at the first time we see something that is not doing it on a good way, or if we don't see the results we want. So persistence, if I sum it up, it's consists of having the ability of maintaining a firm decision to achieve something. And I want to reinforce the firm decision. I think firm decision is very important because when we know that we have an opportunity out there that we can build a business, or we can structure a startup or a business model, we need to be persistent. We don't have to take the no's that they will be coming, but however, even if there are so many no's, we need to also understand that every time we become persistent, we're almost near to the finish line. And when I say finish line, not that when I began to sell or my business began to thrive or prosper and that's it. No, the finish line is when you see that all that you were thinking, building, planning becomes concrete, becomes real. But there's something I need to reinforce here and to clarify a little bit. Being persistent is one thing, but being obstinate or being stubborn is another one. And that's two different words. One thing is being persistent because you saw an opportunity, you took action, and you're doing everything you have in your hands in order to get the results done. But if you see that the result doesn't come, there's a saying in entrepreneurship that I always say, and I'm not saying that you're gonna fail, but if you are going to fail, please fail cheap and fail faster. And that's something we need to take, also understand a little bit more. Fail cheap and fail faster means, okay, you're doing everything you're doing in your hands, but if you don't see the results, even though you are looking and you're doing everything that it's in your hands, you have to make a pause. You have to make a stop in the journey of building a business, of being an entrepreneur. You have to make a stop, because I always say also that you don't have to get in love with your idea. And that's something any entrepreneur has to understand as well. One thing is to seek an opportunity and see that there's something out there that you can build a business and get results on out of that. But another thing is to get in love with your idea, that you don't see any mistakes, any errors, So that's why I say one thing is to be persistent and another thing is to be stubborn or obstinate. If you see that the results are not coming as you plan, like I said, you have to make a stop. You have to make a stop and make improvements. You have to pivot. You have to be not only, you have to understand that changes are also good. And that doesn't mean that you're going far away of your idea or you're changing your idea. Improving is good. Being persistent is good in order to get the results done. So you have to be persistent. You have to be resilient, but not obstinate or stubborn, if I may say. Another thing is also to understand that we need to fulfill commitments. Fulfill commitments is something very important because here in this time and age, people don't commit themselves. I've been like that before. I've learned, but I've seen that many people today, they don't commit themselves. And commitment, it takes a toll into our self-confidence, in our self-esteem. And that's something we need to also understand very well. When we commit ourselves, and that's something of a characteristic of an entrepreneur. If you, you have to be resilient. You have to be also persistent, but also you need to commit. And commitment is to assume. It has a way of mixing commitment with responsibility. When we commit ourselves, we also are responsible of the actions we take. Even if these actions are positive or if these actions are negative. If it doesn't get the results that we want, it doesn't mean that we didn't commit ourselves. The only thing is that we need to understand that committing ourselves is to stick to a plan, to improve whenever we need to improve, but we need to stick to a plan, to organize, to have that subconscious commitment of ourselves, so they don't take a toll into our self-confidence or our self-esteem. And we also need to understand that commitments, sometimes there's an enemy of commitments. And the enemy of commitments is to procrastinate, to don't do the things you need to do and put it aside. And that's something we need to also understand very well, that committing sometimes will get mixed with being procrastinator or being a procrastinator, and that is something we need to be careful with, because you already have the plans, you make the personal sacrifice, the efforts to complete any task in order to build, in this case, a business model, a business, but you have to be careful not to procrastinate. You need to stick to a plan, to set up, and that's something we're going to see in a few minutes, to set up goals, to set up objectives and stick to them. Give the results. That's going, when you commit to yourself and you see that you're doing everything you're doing, that's going to be a boost of self-confidence, a boost of self-esteem, subconsciously, because when you see that everything you're doing, you're sticking to a plan, you already got to organize, that will help you a lot. And that, like I said, this personal entrepreneurial characteristic is not only for building a business, it's also for life, for everyday life. Like I said, the best asset you have when you are starting your own company or you're building your business, the best asset and most important asset here is you. So I think that's very, very important. The fourth personal entrepreneurial characteristic, and I think this is, everyone is very important, but this one in particular, I'm a little bit more fond of, because we're losing this characteristic not only when we're building a business, but in everyday life, being efficient and deliver quality results. That's very important. I know that quality, the word quality is already like a cliche. Has been used before so many times, yeah, you have to deliver a quality product, or you have to create a quality product. Yeah, but what is quality? What is quality results? What is efficiency? And being a quality, it's a process of constant transformation. It's not a final concept, we can always improve what we have. So we need to have that characteristic stick in our DNA, in ourselves, to always have quality results. I have also a saying. People always say, "Yeah, you have a saying for everything." Yes, I have a saying for everything, and I say that good is always the enemy of excellence. If you're doing something good, you can improve. You can be excellent on what you're doing. There's always room for improvement. Like we heard before, improvement is something that you get about when you research a little bit more, when you get knowledge a little bit more. For example, being in this training is going to give you quality results because you're getting knowledge. Hopefully you're getting knowledge. You're getting something that is going to be important, not only for just building a business, but also for your life as a whole. Sometimes we heard that, oh, this person is very efficient on what he or she does. But what does that mean? That means that he or she do her work or his work very quickly without delay. That means, in other words, that means that that person used the resources that has at their hand. They use it very in a very good and efficient manner, and that's where efficiency comes. When you have all the resources surrounding, and you don't need to have everything. The resources that you have around you are enough in order to build or to start a business if you want, or you have to take hold of the resources you have at your hand, at your disposal. You don't have to invest a lot of money, you know. This only indicates that you are very resourceful, that you are efficient in everything you are doing. So that's something that we need to understand. And here comes another characteristic that is also very important, and sometimes it's not very well understand, because when people say, yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur, do you know that, are you ready to make some risks? You need to take some risk. And this is the next entrepreneurial quality. And you may ask why the picture here, because great ideas that doesn't execute, you can find it there, you know, in a cemetery. There are people that had great ideas, but they didn't take action. They didn't execute. They didn't took advantage of the resources that they had at their hand. So there are good ideas that are very, like you see in the picture, in a cemetery. But also, if you don't take calculated risks, and this is very important, you need also to understand that if you don't take calculated risks, that may also have a result on not creating a good business that maybe in the journey you may or may not fail, you know. So you have to be calculated. You have to take risk, yes, but you have to calculate those risks. And that's something very important, because this characteristic is present in an extreme situation, or we know that we're taking risks, and sometimes they're not so evident, you know. And when I mean evident, it's every day in our everyday life, we are taking risks every day, just walking from the garage through the office here. Maybe I can slip and fall. That's a risk. So every day we take risk. But in business, when you have that entrepreneurial risk, entrepreneurial characteristic, you need to understand that taking risk is not like, okay, I'm throwing myself into a pool without first knowing how to swim, you know. And you have to take those risks very responsibly. You have to take risks that you can also be aware of, but at the end, a risk is also a risk. So this is very important for us to understand. Taking calculated risk is like the backbone of being an entrepreneur, okay? And that's something that we need also to get a hold of, that the backbone of being an entrepreneur is, okay, I'm going to take a risk. And in business, taking a risk is, for example, okay, I'm building a startup or a business. I need to take a loan. That's a risk. I need also to take time of everything I do in my everyday life. That's a risk, because you're taking time from one thing to another. And that's something you need to understand very well, that risks are always present, that risks are like the main ingredient in being an entrepreneur. You have also to be creative, yes, but you need to be that person who calculates very well. And also, in order to take risks, I understand, and that's based on my experience. I understood, at first I didn't understood that, but I understood that taking risks has to be also hand to hand with someone with taking advice, with having the humility of hearing other people opinion, uh, and having someone that can advise you, and that's something to calculate your risk um, a little bit more, you know. So that's another one. Another entrepreneurial characteristic here is setting goals. That's something very hard for many of us. I've tried. I know I'm not here to say that I master everything. No, I'm in a constant learning, if I may say, and setting this, like setting goals and sticking to those goals and being resilient, like I say, and being persistent. This is something very important, because goals, if you don't see, and if you remember the Alice in Wonderland, when the cat said, where are you going, Alice? And the cat, and Alice says, I don't know. So any path, and the cat says, any path can take you there. And that's something about not setting goals. If you don't know where to go, if you don't know what to do, you don't have anything planned, you don't have anything set. So setting goals is very important for any entrepreneur, any person who wants to be entrepreneur. And you know something, that setting goals, it's gives you clear objectives of what are you doing, and also is gonna help you on taking the opportunities and saying, because one thing that it's that we need also to understand and to teach ourselves in everyday life, not only on entrepreneurship, is to say no to sometimes opportunities that are disguised in gold, you know, that it are, you can see that is very good opportunities, but at the end, it doesn't help your objective, your plan. So you also have to say no, and setting goals means that as well. Sometimes you have to say no. You have to, you need to have the courage of saying no sometimes to opportunity that come, because they're gonna drift you away on your real plan and your real goal of your what you want. And this is the goals. You have to be measurable. You have to be they have to be achievable as well. They have to be challenging. They have to be specific. You have to put that kind of goals in your life. These goals, when you measure your goals, you know what you can expect. When you set up goals that are achievable, you know that you can do, that you're going to be resilient, that you are going to be determined, that you are going to achieve those goals, and that those goals are possible to get to achieve. Don't set goals that are unachievable, because that's gonna be a blow into your self-confidence. But at the end, you have to also be the next one of setting a goal. The next characteristic is you have to challenge yourself. Don't put goals that are easy for you to do or to give the results. You have to challenge yourself as well. And when you challenge yourself, that's something that you will learn. You will prepare a little bit more. And to tell you the truth, I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna be honest with you here. Like I said, my first language is not English. I hope I'm delivering good. I'm doing anything as possible just to make sure that you're getting the knowledge. My first language is Spanish. And for me, it's very easy to say, okay, I'm going to do this deep dive, this training in Spanish. I can deliver a little bit much better, much better because I'm comfortable there. But I set a goal. I set a goal, and a goal that is not easy for me. I'm sweating right now. I'm being honest with you, So setting a goal, a challenging goal, I had to prepare myself. I had to do not only the research, but prepare myself in front of a mirror on how to express myself, how to work, because I can have or hold a conversation in English very well. But when it's going to give a presentation like this, or have some technical words that I wish I can be more fluent on, that is very challenging. So setting goals like that, it always takes you out of your comfort zone. You have to challenge yourself. You have to get new knowledge. If you don't know something, go research. There's a lot of information out there that you can get a hold on. You can get your hands on. Like I say, be efficient, be resourceful. That's a characteristic that we talked before about being an entrepreneur. So being not measurable, but also it has to be achievable and challenging as well. But also you have to be specific on your goals. You have to put a timeline. Okay, I'm going to achieve this goal in this amount of time. Because if you don't put a time, it's like not setting a goal or an objective at all. So as well, it has to be realistic. Don't say, yeah, tomorrow I want to go to the moon. Yeah, but I'm not Elon Musk, who already has a spaceship already built and went to space. I need to know what resources do I have. I need to be real on what I have, So you have to set your goals in a very realistic manner. So one of the next personal entrepreneurial characteristics as well is systematic planning. And what is this? What is having a systematic planning? Systematic planning is nothing more than you have to plan. You have to take those objectives and say, okay, I'm gonna do this first step, this is second, and this is gonna be third. What has to be done? What is it to be that I need to do? How much do I have to do as well? If I need to have, for example, if I'm gonna be, before this training, I had an interview with an entrepreneur, a person that wants to start a business. It has only an idea, and I say to her, okay, but what are you doing in order to get those goals? To get the results of those goals, And she told me, I don't know where to start. And that's where the planning is very important. Planning, it's putting everything in order. It's having a control. And of course, here control is not to over control anything. You have to, you need to make space for things that doesn't work the way we want it, So even when you have plan and you have control and you have the planning process, that will determine the objectives and the goals to be achieved. And also the planning, the systematic planning will give you alternative courses of action. If you don't see the results the way you planned, okay, now I'm going to take another course of action. I'm going to take control. I'm going to make a stop right now and see, okay, what is working in order to get those objectives and those goals achieved. The next one is is very important. You need also an entrepreneur or a person who wants to be an entrepreneur has to be a very persuasive person, a person who not only transmits and knows how to transmit their message, you know, but also persuasion means the ability to convince another one to carry out any task or any objective. And you need to be persuasive. And that's something you can learn throughout the time, with the experience, with not only the knowledge. You have to try it. You have to be persuasive. You need to persuade people to convince them that your idea, that your business model, we're talking about business like we are right now, you need to convince people that you have the solution, for the problem that you saw out there. But also, not only to be persuasive, you need to have a very, very support network. I always said as well that before any investment, any kind of money, a person what really needs is to have a very important support network. And I joke with my colleague, Amy. She's the person that has the best ability to network that I've known. She has not only a good network, a person to go to if you want to make an introduction for so and so topic, or you want to have an introduction for any kind of business industry, please believe me, reach out to Amy, because she knows how to work around a network. And any entrepreneur needs also that. They need a support network. They need to build a network. You cannot do it by yourself. There's no loners here, or like the Lone Ranger. There are no Lone Rangers here. You need people to help you, people that is gonna support you. And it doesn't have to. It doesn't mean about money wise, or it's more of a network that will help you get to the results you planned, and to get the goals done. So that's very important. And this one, I think for any entrepreneur is very important to have self-confidence. I know many people, and this is more of being open and honest with you. Self-confidence, when you have that boost of self-confidence, believe me that you will think that you can do anything you want. And that's something an entrepreneur always needs. Having self-confidence. You can do it. You know you can do it. If you have the resources, you have the knowledge, you research, believe me, you have to be self-confident. There is something that I've been hearing a lot, that we are our worst critic, you know, and I believe that. Sometimes the worst critic, it's me, is you, the people you see in the mirror, and that's something we need to work on. That's why being an entrepreneur, if you see, is not only of building a business. That's like I said, don't get me wrong. It has a lot of things around building a business, but that's the easy part when you know what you're going to do. The difficult part is to get this personal entrepreneurial characteristics on your DNA. If you have it, perfect, you can improve it. If you don't have it, that's fine, you can learn it. But you need to have that self-confidence, the self-confidence that you know that things are working, that maybe you won't get the results like you wanted or like you wished, but at the end, You tried. And that's something very important. Tried and tried as many times as you can. That's gonna give you the boost of self-confidence that you need in order to build a business, uh, uh, to get a startup or get a business model work and running. And the last one is very, very important for me. I've been talking throughout this conversation, and is seeking information. We as entrepreneurs, we need to seek information. The information, it's very interesting because now, or if I may say, before the information, it was anything who had the information had the power. Remember that phrase? Well, now is so much different. The information is out there. We can have information in any outlets we can get from the internet, from many search engines. With there's a lot of ways of seeking information, but we need now to be resourceful. We need to be persistent, and we need to be goal oriented on what information we are going to seek and we're getting. We need to be careful with information that it will not work for our goals or will not work for our plans. So that's something that we need to understand as well. The information we seek, we need also to be to learn, to be self-learners. The information is out there, but we need to get that information and get it into our brain in order to build a business. So these are the 10 entrepreneurial characteristics. I know we can go a little bit more deep into each one of them. I want to put my email there. You got my email already and you can drop me a line. But at the end, what I want to say here is that entrepreneurial characteristics are something that you can learn. That is very important to understand. Something you learn, something when you repeatedly do, you always gonna get that into your DNA. And that's something you need to put it into action. It's very important. Like I say here, make, create, sleep, and repeat. You need to repeat as many times as you need, and also as you want, all these entrepreneurial characteristics, because these are going to make you a much better entrepreneur.